So we're going to go ahead and get started here. Today we have two speakers, Dr. Sue Mays, who is the former Dean of K-State Global Campus, and Charlotte Meisenheimer, who is the Director of Membership for the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. Just a quick reminder, to get credit for today's event, you'll be sent a survey after the event, so make sure that you fill that out and complete it in order to get credit towards the professional development certificate. And if you want to go back and watch this event again, we'll have the recording posted on the graduate school website. So, yeah, what you guys do?
We talked a little bit. I've been in France, got back last night, so I fall asleep. She's been prepared to hit me. What I always find it better than for us to droll on and give you a monologue about, well, I did this, I did that, I did this, and then I did that. We'd like to know a little bit about you. Start, like, of course, your name, what your field is, and what professional networks are you have desired to build? What have you thought about in your career? Like you're in chemical engineering, it's the American Chemical Engineering Society that you hope to present papers. Are there opportunities there to do that? I think that's the way to think about it. My husband and I are absolutely opposite. And he did his doctorate at K-State. And I said, well, you should present. He said, well, yes, the professor urged him to, like the one Midwest American Psychological meeting. Well, did you go back? Well, no, I did my paper. He also decided somewhere along the line that what field he wanted to do. But, I mean, he is the absolute opposite of a networker. So maybe that's why we get along fine. But so as you introduce yourself, think about, you know, where your potentials are, what connections you want to make, and let us get to know you, because I think that will help us put our thoughts together for you. So you'll catch on in the red when you start here. So go ahead. You missed what you have to do. You'll catch on. Okay, so name, what your field is, maybe what your association you'd like to make.
So I'm Holly Fouillon. I'm a master's student and I'm in animal science and industry studying ruminant nutrition. So my main networking opportunities would be at like Dairy Science, American Dairy Science Association. And I also want to go back into the industry when I'm done. So any like large feed companies within the US would be good networking opportunities for me.
Sounds like you have thoughts.
My name is Siti Fadia Abdul Manan.
And can you hear it from the back? Because we're projecting this way. So maybe you need to turn around a little bit and see if we can hear you.
My name is Siti Fadia Abdul Manan. I'm currently doing my PhD in brain science. Currently, I'm working in a university in my country. So basically, my network mostly academics. And at the same time, we have the Association for Institute of Food and Technology, as well as American Association of Cereal Chemists. So that are two of the organizations that I would like to involve in. But at the same time, creating networking with other academics from different institutions.
Thanks, Joe.
I'm Kaylee. I'm a master's student in applied family science. I'm trying to think of different places of people that I would want to network with. There's a National Council on Family Relations, so probably people in that area, and then Family Life Educators or American Public Health Association.
So my name is Joao Samwata. I am in the United States, courtesy of United States Fulbright Scholarship, and so I'm a Fulbright scholar in the US here. Just like a friend said here, I've been teaching in university in my country for the past almost 20 years of teaching at the university.
Where's your country?
Kenya, East Africa.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear.
So came over to the US for my PhD. I'm in the Department of Sociology currently. My specific focus is on international development. And so what I have in mind was organizations that fall within that category, But then I'm also thinking about the United Nations as well, those kind of bodies. Really, the reason why I came over here this afternoon was to understand the American market, if that makes sense, right? So within this country, which are some of these networks that perhaps I can be able to link up. So really, I think we have more to learn than to see how best I can, perhaps market myself, if that makes sense.
And we might end up throwing that back up to the crowd too, that, by the time I hit my peak in my profession, I joined some of these electronic networks and other things, but, I have very little expertise there because I wouldn't want to do that, but I bet within the group here we'll have some good thoughts. So those of you in the back, what we're doing, introduce yourself, what kind of networks you'd like to connect with, what your field is.
My name is Billy, PhD guy in history, focus on modern Japanese history. And what I'm most interested in, probably learning from the seminar, is the role of the professional organization in my network. I talked about this with some faculty members of the department, and there are some mixed opinions on the role of that at the graduate level. Everyone's like, oh, you should present, you should present. It's probably required of you before you leave here with a PhD to have presented something. Okay, how, where, to what extent, how does this work? What else should we be doing while we're there? To whom should we be speaking? All sorts of questions like that. And most of what I get are shrugs. Oh, you'll figure it out.
That's good.
And I think that's how they did it, is they just sort of figured it out. Or, oh, this is what I did with me, but no roadmap, so to speak. I guess that's what I was hoping for here, is maybe not a roadmap, but a way to delineate what I would have in a desired roadmap.
Young man with the purple picture.
Yeah, Nelson Walker, studying statistics, first-year PhD student, focusing on spatial statistics and ecological applications. My networking focus is other statisticians in industry and government, and the main association that I'd be working with is the American Statistical Association.
I'm gonna get lost. So where the roads go? I think start back over here with man in gray.
I'm Huai Yu, also from Statistics Department. I'm pursuing my PhD degree. This hopefully is my last year. I'm looking for a job, basically. So I think my target for the connection is some companies in industry, especially pharmaceutical companies. Also, for my research, I would like to connect to some people from other areas who have genomics data or high-dimensional data. It would be helpful for me.
Man to your right.
That's you, Jeff.
Oh, okay. My name is Jeff Longchen. I'm also like a PhD student in statistics department. So basically, my preference kind of like the same as those guys.
Person in black.
Hello everyone, my name is Aurelio. I'm a third-year PhD student at the College of Veterinary Medicine. So basically my work is focused on simulation models to evaluate how infectious disease spread in livestock populations. My target for today, and I came to this session because I would like to make an efficient use of my social networks, and also I would like to connect especially people in the government, as we work a lot with grants from the Department of Homeland Security, for example.
My name is Penny. I am last year program in marriage and family therapy. So job hunting currently, and I'll be attending 2 conferences next week and the week after next week. So come here really just for how to do networking during conference.
Are you presenting?
Yes, I'm presenting. Yeah.
Hi everybody, my name is Dorna and I'm studying PhD Environmental Design and Planning at the College of Architecture, Planning and Design. I hope to get from today's workshop is that how to, because in architecture is not a STEM field, so it doesn't have any money there. So I really hope I could find a way to really fund our projects because most of the projects we do are either don't have any funds or self-funded.
I'm Jade Allenbrand. I'm in the Department of Biology. I'm a first-year master's student. My research focuses on microbial ecology, mostly in the soil. And I'm interested in more applied sciences, so my network would be maybe connecting to people in private government agencies outside of academia, but also other academics that are interested in applying their research to help land managers or agriculture, ranching.
Hi, I am Tanvir Ferdowsi. I am in the third year of PhD in electrical engineering. I work in the network science lab as a researcher, and our work is focused on epidemic modeling in networks. We use theories from both computer science and engineering to apply to the field of biology and agriculture. And what I'm expecting from this seminar is to understand how I can find more links and find more people and more fields that I can apply for jobs in the future.
Did you know my friend Kumar? He just graduated with a PhD in electrical engineering.
Yes, I know him. He's from India, right?
Yes.
Yes, I know.
Yes,
He's from the lab just adjacent to my lab.
And things have done well. I had an internship in the summer in Colorado. Now I studied for a postdoc at Hardison. Is that right? That's a big lab in Chicago. At Hardison. Good. But he made these connections behind you. They're on the hat.
Hello, my name is Suhiri. My major is, I am PhD student, agricultural economics. My major is about natural resource environment economics, but specifically I am focusing on water economics now. Actually, the reason why I came here is that I would like to get some tips about the two things. First one, when I went to some conference, I could meet some lot of expertise and students, and also I could make a friends. But after that, I don't know how to keep in touch with them, especially professor. You know, I'm very confused. Sometimes I feel that is it okay just to say hello via email, or do I need to contact only when I need something or advices from them? That is, I'm confused. And secondly, in my department, we have kind of a regular meeting. We invited the guest speaker from the lot of university professors. Sometimes we have a chance to chat with them. We have a chance to eating with them. But I'm very, very curious to have a lunch or dinner with them, but I couldn't because I have no. I am not brave woman, so I don't know what about talking with them. If I just start casual story, maybe they're professor, but they understand. It's something, you know, do you understand what I mean? So I'm very, very curious. What kind of a topic do I need to talk with them? So actually, I'm from South Korea. So in our culture, to have a meeting with the professor is very rare, and then sometimes the professor is kind of a very
What is that? Yeah, very, we need to respect always very high level person. So, but in America, I feel that the professors always try to close the students. Yeah, they look that they ready to meet students, but for me, I am not ready to meet them. So I really want to learn how to converse with them and close to with them. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
It might turn into an 8-week seminar. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Florence Luisa. I'm from the Department of Manufacturing Economics. I'm a third-year student pursuing a PhD. I'm a graduate research assistant and my research focuses on responses to drought risk in developing countries, dealing with issues of country insurance and other risk management strategies. So for this session, I want to know how to build networks. We have not had any experience with in such a setting. So whatever it is there to learn, I want to learn.
You have a network in mind, you have an automatic home of where you present, where you read the journals from, is there
At conferences or even within office or wherever I go.
but there is a pathway in your field of economics that is an association or, I mean, like in my field, which was continuing education, there is an association of continuing education. Same in economics for you?
There's a network of agricultural economics. So I'm really open to whatever kind of network within my field or even outside.
Light blue.
Hi everyone, I'm Naimi. I'm a new graduate student and I'm focusing on I'm a virology graduate student, junior virology, and I'm working on this virus. And what I would like to know is, since I'm new, what networking is, how important networking is for graduate students, and especially since I'll be attending a conference in Chicago in December where I'll be presenting a poster, I'd like to know how to take advantage of that opportunity to create networks and how to maintain them. That's what I'm looking for.
Hi, I'm Kasuri. I'm a secondary PhD student in agronomy. So basically my research area is about soil, it's soil chemistry. So I would like to have an opinion about how to build a network between the soil scientists and as well as among the industry. So basically my intention is to present the Soil Health Society of America, like those kind of societies. So we have separate society in my country as well. So I would like to know how to build connections, how to build network in that kind of academic environment.
Hi, I'm Krishani. I'm a first year PhD student in VetMed. I deal with viruses. So I want to improve my networking skills, and I also want to know how to maintain those skills so that I can go anywhere and meet people and interact with them like very efficiently. So that's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Naomi Megan. I'm in the entomology department. This is my first year, second semester of my PhD. My focus in my research is to work on stored product insects, but I'm focusing on ham, dry cured ham. So all the kind of pests that attack these birds. And why I'm here this afternoon is I'll be going to a conference in November at Canada, and I want to know how to network. Actually, it's through network that I got this PhD, so I want to maintain it and then know much more about it. And I really love extension work, so I want to know how I can transform from the lab work into an extension kind of thing, like extending what I've learned in the lab field and how I can build networks with people who are.
Hi, this is Rajarshi. I'm a PhD student in the Department of Nuclear Engineering, and I am working in space radiation protection and shielding. The reason for my being here is like I want to build meaningful conversations with my peers when I attend conferences, and how to convert that conversation into future connection for jobs and research purposes.
Ashton Kaufman, second year PhD student, industrial engineering. Focus is operations research, specifically food supply chains, and had experience in industry working in with agricultural companies, and so I'm wanting to, I guess, kind of transition into this new level of professional networking. And I'm also going to a conference, and I'd like to, I guess, kind of find a way to use my experience as a reason to explain that I have some domain knowledge and not just academic knowledge.
I'm Marvin Inko from, I'm a biological and agricultural engineering PhD student, and hopefully this will, I still have a year before I graduate. So I'm on studying basically grading, storage, and packing, and we're on modeling and simulation. I'm a faculty back in archive-3, so I'm from the Philippines. So my goal basically is I already built some network with some organizations like ASAP and GIBS, and I just want to maintain that network, and hopefully in the future I can work with these people I had on the grade and future research projects.
Okay, sorry this is taking long, but it's fascinating. We have everybody except the College of Engineering and the College of Business here so far. Maybe they already know how to do it. Here they are. Hey, way back there, Red.
Hey, my name is James. I'm a first year master's in agronomy. My focus is in soil health of the Great Plains, specifically cannabis, prairies, and highland. I didn't hear the third question.
Well, we're trying to get people to reflect on where their networks might be. Like he said, GIBS and ASAP, which I'm very familiar with because I work for grain industry. So we're thinking and connecting in that way. So trying to get you all to think about where are my networks, how do I get there, how do I present, how do I get to know people when I'm there. Just a little, get you engaged before you just hear us talk.
Yeah, my networks are agronomy and soil, everyone else outside of that too.
Hi guys, my name is Chandrima. I'm a PhD student and my major is agronomy, and I'm mostly working with herbicide resistance in weeds. It involves a lot of genetics work and molecular biology. So the reason I'm here is like I want to know about three things. First of all, how to connect with industry professionals using LinkedIn, because I've heard a lot that LinkedIn can be used as a professional networking site, but I connect with people and then I don't know how to approach them. Second, is it okay to email industry people? I mean, I attend conference and I get their cards and they have their contact emails, but I don't know how to take that conversation to the next step. And finally, I am attending a conference in December. So I want to know how I can build meaningful networks there.
Great, good question. Okay. I'm getting lost right back there.
I'm Qasim Fernandez from Industrial Engineering. I'm a 50th PhD student and about to graduate, and I would like to know more about how to connect with industrial people and how it will affect our job searching. And that's why I'm here.
Hi, my name is Arif. I'm civil engineer, PhD student last year. I'd like to know how to improve effectively my professional profile, how I can connect effectively with professionals, either industrial or academic.
Hi, my name is Matt Hamblin. I'm a first year's master's student, like Naomi, in the anthropology department. We're going to the same conference in Vancouver next month, and I am presenting actually a couple of things, and really want to figure out the connections that are going to be best for me to make, whether through academia or industry, USDA, depending on how it goes, and how to start those conversations as well as maintain them.
I'm Abdullah. I'm from Curriculum and Instruction Department, PhD student, especially in education and technology. I want to build my skills in networking, especially in conferences and other professional events, and how to interact with other after that.
And finally.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Komalpreet Kaur and I am a first year graduate student in Geography department. And my research is based on how best I can deploy GIS and remote sensing in natural resource management areas. And I'm a part of American Association of Geographers, but I see many people in natural resource management work in political science department or environmental studies. So I don't know how best I can approach them. And so that's why I want to improve my networking skills and build bigger network.
Do you want to tackle first? Got some thoughts?
Yeah, you start.
Well, I'll start with one. One of the ones I would ask. This happened to me once. I was branded in the field of continuing education. I had other careers here at Kansas State, but going to a national conference of my peers, I knew zero, except for maybe 2 or 3 other people at Kansas State. There was a woman in my department, her name is Bobby Flaherty, retired. She took me by the hand and introduced me to every single, I swore she knew everyone at this 1,000-person conference, but that's exaggerated. But the 4-day conference, I start bumping in with her again to these same people. I got to know who they were. They got to know who I was. And so then when I was at a regional meeting, what she did was open an amazing door. And I did that then with a woman who was from the University of Kansas. And I said, I'm going to take you around and introduce you. She has written to me twice in the past 2 years. She has now moved up as a major officer in the association. She's gotten a really big new job, and she still credits it to what I did, and I credit what Bobby did for me. So my question, because I heard some of you say, well, my professor said I'll figure it out. Are they going to be there with you? Are they willing to introduce you? Are they willing to say, we have a guest speaker for dinner, why don't you come along? The woman who said, I don't know can't just invite myself to the guest speaker. I mean, the best thing that could happen is for you to start talking to your major professor or somebody who starts to know these industry people or that, say, I'll give you a hand, hang with me during these meetings when you're not presenting yourself. Because it's darn difficult to try to be brave enough to go up to somebody. I mean, I did develop the skill of, I remember going up to a man when Exxon was a big foundation and saying, gosh, you're funding in this area, and here's the area I'm working in, and we have a conversation. Wow, that takes a whole lot of bravery to be willing to go up, and he could have said, well, I don't know who you are, and I'm really busy, but thank heavens he was a very nice person. And we had an excellent conversation, and eventually I got a small grant from him. So she introduced me to these people. I looked around this large conference, looked to see where my niche was, and at that point my niche was in really working with rural communities, and rural schools, and community development. And, I went to their meeting. Well, they needed somebody to be on the committee that read papers for next year's birthday. And everybody sits on their hands at the time. Well, you have to be the first to say, I'd be willing to do that. Now, you can be willing to do it, but you have to do a darn good job of it. Because there's too many people that say, oh, okay, put me on that committee. And then they never end up having the time for the phone calls, they don't perform well. So your small network that you're starting to develop will never ask you to be on another committee. So it's by exceeding in very small things that I became secretary of that division, vice chair, chair. Then I ended up on some next cabinet. And before I knew it, I was president of the association. Thousands of people. But I paid my dues. I kept working and working and helping them host regional meetings, helping people make connections, but it wasn't for Bobby. So I guess I'm asking you, is that major professor or somebody who maybe is a few years above you in your field and who's going to be at that conference, are they willing to say, hey, Jamie, I'd like you to meet. Or, Jamie, I think you should go to this luncheon this afternoon, or this reception. I still, and I'm 70 years of age, I still can't when I go in a big room, and there's a whole lot of people there, and they have a glass of wine. And I look around, I can't find people I might know. And how do you go up to two people and start talking? I mean, that is still one of the hardest things to do, but I have to force myself. I have too many of my colleagues who say, well, I'll just go pick up some more dirt and go on up to my room. Or I got a colleague and we'll go on out for here. I force myself to stay at those receptions. There's 3 people sitting at the table, there's a 4th chair. Could I join you? I'm so and so and so and so. I'll take maybe notes. Friend who I sat with, if I think there's a connection. You always obviously know to have a packet of cards with you. Women, that's a little harder when you're going to the cocktail evenings. How do you produce your cards? So you have to do that. I assume cards still. Yeah,
mine are
So I mean, I have to figure out how to do that because and then you ask, how do you follow up? Or how do you? You know, I would probably, if I really thought that was a valuable person, I might go home and do my homework about it. So let's say I met Mr. Smith from Exxon. I thought that had something to do with the economics of soil. I don't know. I would find out what he's funded, what maybe if he's written anything, what his background is. So how do you write him that next time to say, hey, I'm Mary Sue and I met you at a meeting. How are you? Hope you're having a good life. You know, you've got to find a way to talk to him about or her. I see that you've published in this area or that you're connected to. And people like to help people. And I think if somebody wrote me and said, I'm trying to figure out how to, I've always agreed to take on a mentor at K-State and help them think through those professions. So finding who your hero is that's willing to say, well, I'm at the next Jeeps meeting or the Green Science, there's 3 or 4 of you in Green Science. Let me introduce you to the people in these fields. Or, you know, are there alumni from Green Science at K-State that are now in that field that you hope to invest in? Who are their major professors at K-State? Can you get their emails, send them those? I mean, it's how do you dig out those people? But finding a mentor, finding someone in your department who says, well, of course I'll be at the industry meeting. They were probably going to different tracks, but let's meet up at the reception that night. Let's do this. I think a major professor owes that to you to try and help you connect. And hopefully you've all got champions out there who are willing to do that. So that was one reflection, and now it's finding that stop and let you throw out some thoughts. Well, it sounds like conferences are a big question mark in the room, so I'm gonna kind of come back from a different point of view slightly, but what you said is so important is that the hardest thing is to lock at the door, right? So a couple things is set a goal for yourself. Not necessarily I'm gonna pick 3 business cards, but I'm gonna make 3 new connections, and so that you almost give yourself permission, right? Like if I get 3, then I can go to my room, right? But if you do that, it's kind of funny how the 4th one happens and the 5th one happens to you a little bit. Totally agree. I've been in numerous events and it's still scary to walk into it. It was scary to come in here today, let me just say. Especially after hearing about all the different things you guys are doing, it was very intimidating for me. But to be able to know those. The other thing is that when you're going to a conference as a day society, you guys have the ability to see who's going to be there before you get there. So you may actually even cherry pick who you want to see or who you want to be around, right? If that person makes the most sense for you, make sure you're going to their breakout. And then, like Dr. May said, then you're able to do some follow-up. I was in your breakout session on brain science. And I felt it was very fascinating to hear about, I relate to that by, and then you send them a note, whether that's via LinkedIn, some question about LinkedIn, or you can do on a LinkedIn page, you can make a comment to them there. Don't ever think that the handwritten note is dead and gone, because it makes the biggest impact, I think. Every conference I go to, I can tell them I'm from Manhattan, Kansas, the first thing I say, this is a true statement. We were at a conference, Association of Chamber Executives, and we were in Des Moines, Iowa, and we were at the trade show, and I was talking to Southwest Airlines. And I said, where are you from? I said, Manhattan, Kansas. And they said, do you know that in our hallway, framed is a note from Bill Snyder about how nice it was that we were able to take the team to a bowl game? And that stuck with him. It wasn't even addressed to him. It was addressed to the president of the company. It made such an impact. So those are things that set you apart from someone else who's either looking for funding or is looking for a job. They're going to remember that you were personal and you took the time to relate back to them. To me, that's important. I cover you guys to go to conferences together, right? I've kind of heard that. It's going to be really easy for you to say, hey, let's go sit together. That might be okay as long as there's a couple of other people with you, but don't just sit in the corner between the 2 of you and always have a conversation. You have to branch out. You can have your buddy, but make sure that you're branching out a little bit too. When I would take my staff to conferences, I'm not sure they like to go with me, but I said, hey, you've got very specific academic goals. They were networks and continuing education. They were more generalist. Said you'll go to a different session than anyone else. When I see you at a reception, you will not be sitting with the people from your office. You will be out there meeting people. And that's a condition on your going. Don't sit with the other graduate student over in the corner thinking, well, maybe somebody will come and sit at our table. You've got to get away from them unless they have been there for 2-3 years and they can be the ones to network for you. But now that's different than if maybe your professor has brought you, certainly hanging by he or she and hoping they will introduce you. But gosh, get away from your colleague who is equal to you unless you both want to meet so-and-so and you both have on that 3-person list some intention of doing so, but hanging out with your very best friend isn't going to make a network. I'd like to talk a little bit about posters or presentations, which it sounds like most of you are aiming to do. And that's going to be really hard because there's many associations where the poster row is the alleyway to get into the cocktail. People go by the posters like trying to pretend they're looking at it and trying to say, how do I get through those posters to get to the cocktail? And that is so disappointing when you have worked hard on that poster and people, the best professional societies take the time. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're having the poster session. And inside maybe the poster session room are the cookies. But it's hard to know, are you really going to have people? I was at a Fulbright meeting in Australia, and there were new young Fulbrights, and I was so impressed with how people came up, wanted to know about their work, wanted to know about their research, all the cards being exchanged. If you can get a poster session like that, it's wonderful. And of course, you know, there's a whole art. Hopefully somebody in your office is helping you build a poster so that if I go by it, I can understand it in the 5 seconds I might give you. And if it's typed and a whole lot of written stuff with a whole lot of diagrams, I'm probably going to avoid your poster because I'm not going to understand. I can't tell what it says really quickly. So depending upon if everybody has a chance to get up and talk for 10 minutes about the poster versus are you in an alleyway where the people are going by fast, or how do I have time to talk about it? And what are the key words up on that poster that would make people stop and say, whoa, she's doing this in soil science and has an idea that I'd be interested in talking about that. I'll stop here. So thinking about how you design that poster and how you get people to listen to you. Now, of course, you'll have your cards there, I hope, but I would ask them, you know, well, is this your, you've got to start that conversation. Don't just get so deep into saying all about your research that you forget to pause for a minute and say, are you in the same field? You know, what brought you to the attention of the work I'm doing? So you need to reach out and not get so involved in, I got to tell them everything about what my poster says, that you don't get to know who they are and why are they looking at your poster when there were 30 others in the room and they probably could only choose 4 to stop at. So, you know, then I think, you know, you do everything Sheila and I were talking about. Can you say, well, guys, you're in that field too, and obviously I'm just starting. You know, might I exchange emails with you? Might I talk to you and keep going as I learn about what you research on? Would you be willing to look at my things once in a while? That's a bolder step, but it's quite the same thing if I had dinner with you. But I might say, oh, are you going to be at the reception after this? I'll be at the reception after this. Maybe we can talk some more. Here's my card. So, got to do that.
I think the other thing, in respect to that too, is that you have to make eye contact when they're not going to stop. Give them a reason to stop too, that you put all this time and effort into the research of this poster, that if someone's coming by your poster and you're doing this, they're not going to stop and talk to you. It's not going to happen. And they may not have wanted to stop and talk to you, but if you make eye contact with them, you have a better shot at it too. So that's a big, and I know that's hard, right? Because you have that conversation like, oh, I'm just nervous about that. Making eye contact with someone as they walk, even if you just say hello. You know, if they walk by, you made a contact with them to a certain point, they'll remember that too.
And I've probably gotten even so bold as when people walk by. What is that, the NACADA conference, that's National Academic Advising, and you know, people were just streaming by, and after a while I started saying, hi, I'm Sue, can I talk to you about what I'm doing? Or they go, what do I just, you know, but some of those really turned into great conversations. But if you're standing behind the table and your poster's here, can you stand out here with your poster there, and you're smiling, you're ready to shake the hand, you're ready to say, hi, I'm Mary Smith. I've been studying soils. Do you have a minute I can talk to you about it? Or however it's appropriate, not having been at your conference. But you've got to be not behind the table, you've got to be out in front, you've got to be willing to do the Sheila eyeball, and you've got to be willing to stick your hand out and say hi. Love to talk.
And I think if you create, just like she said, so if you've got 2 or 3 people you're talking to and no one else is doing that, the next person coming down is like, ooh, there's something really cool going on there, I gotta figure that out, right? Because it's human nature. If everybody's at one place, you wanna know what that one place is. So be the place.
And I don't know what's appropriate with posters, because obviously I haven't done a whole lot are you able to give them a 5-point card on what that whole poster said with your name and professional name? I don't know. Something that can say, well, if you're interested, here's some of my findings to date, and here's my content. I don't know where that would lead, but again, I go through so many posters as a attendee, and I kind of remember at the end, some things were pretty cool, but maybe again, you could have a card about this big that said, here are some of the 5 things about where my work is going, that they could take home with your email.
You had a question?
Yeah, I do. So I was thinking, because I'm not like on job hunting at that time, I was thinking about, is it posting or graduate students activity, or are there like professors or scholars go those poster sessions? Just thinking of how
It depends
much.
totally on your association. In some associations, they may say, well, we didn't allow you for a full presentation, but we have a poster session, would you be willing to do a poster? So I've had conferences that I kind of got the booby prize, but I got the poster prize. And in others, it's a big deal for the grad students to have posters. I think once you get beyond that, you're gonna, what I will often do when I wanted to present, I did a lot of work in building academic collaborations across the United States, how universities could build master's degrees together. I thought I had a lot to say, but I wasn't sure if I submitted that topic on my own, I would get a place in the program. So I had to do my research to say, who else in the United States is doing this kind of work? Called them up and said, by chance, are you going to this conference, and would you be interested in being on a panel with me? So when I often sent in a presentation, I had minimally at least 3 other university people presenting with me. So my presentation rose to the top, and I always got one of the slots, because those conferences maybe only have 25 or 30 times where you get 45 minutes. So how do I get one of those? And how do I have been amazed at networking, because in my field, I try to know it, but I'll be at a meeting of, I did a lot of work in nuclear engineering. KU people didn't know the K-State people, the Iowa State people didn't know the K-State people. How could you be in the same field and you guys not know each other? I'm amazed in some of the academic fields how people haven't bothered to make those connections. And I was with the head of the communications department from KU, and I said something about our department. Oh, I don't know who those guys are. Well, I've been head of communications for 20 years or more. So I'll make networks. Why wouldn't you not know them? I would want to know who they were, what they're working on. I knew the field in University of Kansas of my peers, what they were working on. I'm stealing their ideas, they were stealing mine. My best friends are now there. So that still stands of interest to me, of how people don't. Maybe your major professor's a little shy too, and what do you do when that happens? I'm getting off on.
I think you bring up a great topic, because what are the things that you're networking and making your networks now? You may work with that person in 10 years from now. Or 15 years now, the job offer might come from the person that you communicated conference this year. So you want to continue that in that vein. You never know what people are going to wind up.
I'm trying to think through, I think I've heard a common question also about how do I meet the industry people? Again, not knowing, because we have about 25 fields represented here, are those industry people at the Chiefs Conference? Yes, I think they are at the Chiefs Conference, at the Grains Conference. Are they at the Dairy Science Conference, or is it just academic people at the Dairy Conference? These are things I think you have to ask. Who's going to be there? Does my major professor know them? Might there be jobs in that area? National Council of Family Relations. My master's was in that field. And I just, my major professor was doing a lot of work in rural families, so I presented. I got to know a huge network across the state of Kansas of professionals working in that field. I wasn't looking to take another job in that field, but boy, it sure built a nice network for me. And my networks are more, I can figure out the next best thing to do. So I want to improve my working position by knowing what others are doing. I'm making what I'm doing better. And that's why I need the network. I'm not looking at state for 50 years. I'm 49. So I should take a little bit longer. So I wasn't ever looking to move. I had a family here, I was employed. So I was a very different duck, but I wanted to make my work better. I ended up publishing 3 books, which is pretty unusual for my field. I must have given 150 presentations across the country, but networking, kept finding a person to speak with. What conferences are people going to in my field? What are their themes? How might I start volunteering to help when I'm at this new conference that I've never been to? And so I volunteered to be on a planning committee for a regional meeting. Then I meet 10 other good people, and that started the network. And then I move up in that regional conference to being on their awards committee. So then I get started with all the people that are winning awards and what they've had to do to win those awards. I always tell faculty, young faculty, when NSF will allow people to be readers, get to be readers for these things, because then you're going to know what it takes to really get those kind of awards. I started out running a program here in Manhattan called UFM. It was a very small community education program. By the time I left, I had helped start about 30 branches of UFM. We had helped create the farmers market here, the People's Grocery, the Women's Crisis Center. We just kept asking, what's the community need and how can we help? So that's a different kind of networking, but you're always trying to find out what's going on, who do I talk to, who do I bring together? It's a delightful thing that you do at the chamber. You're always asking, well, they need that, who do they need to be? And how do I bring those people together?
So I might kind of tag in that, if you don't mind, for a minute, is some of you also, there's a lot of different types of networks, right? So obviously the conference network is big, academic conference, or networking is huge too. But what about your community networks, and how does that work? So my guess is, my daughter's 25, and she decided to follow a boy, not say where her mother lived, went away, lived in the city, but she left and she was like, Mom, all my friends are gone. What do I do now? Right? Like her Taco Tuesday friends are gone. She doesn't know what to do now. So when you're in a new town and a new place, you start a new job, and you may not want to hang out with everybody that you work with, right? Because there's a whole nother hierarchy going on. What do you do? So I encourage her to join the Young Professionals. There's a group of individuals who typically run by chambers, not all, but a lot of them. You'll find them in almost every town in the city. And it's a group of individuals between the ages of 25 and 40. So they're going through the exact same things you are: first job, getting married, having kids, how do you do a work-life balance? But it's an opportunity to build a social network. You may not ever have an opportunity to meet that person any other way. So you will be able to find someone that has maybe like interests as you, whether that's painting or hiking or kayaking or something of that nature that improves the quality of life for you. So those are some great networks to start too. As you go out in your business though, you may find networks, your social networks crossing over into your business network. So it could be that the great science, you're going to go work for a cooperative, or you're looking to work in a vet school, and you know whether the veterinarians are out there. You might run into those people that are working at other places that you would have never had the opportunity to meet the other way. So I would really, really encourage you, to get involved in the professionals group, no matter where you're at. We have a very active one here in Manhattan that you're all welcome to be a part of. And you don't have to be a chamber member. I will tell you that at least in Manhattan, some young professionals ask for a membership fee, but it's very low. It's a great opportunity to kind of get to know other people. It's also great for job hunting. I know that was another question that we had here too. The other ways that you can make some social or some other networks that are out there is what's important to you outside of this, right? So I have a passion for cancer research. So anything like Susan G. Komen or the Cancer Research Center here, survivorship. So that's important to me. So I might volunteer in those endeavors. You're going to meet other people that have the same passions that you do that on down the line will help grow that network because you don't know who they know eventually, right? So, but it has to be something that makes sense to you. Don't join a group that meets at 7, don't join the Friday morning Rotary group that meets at 7 o'clock in the morning if you're not a morning person. Don't do it. So it has to be something that you're passionate about or want to be a part of, and it has to kind of make some sense for you too. Those are some other ways that you can make some networks when you're looking at jobs. The other thing I will also say is that this great thing with the computer Google, when you're looking for a job, if you're in the same town as somebody, a company that you want to go to work for, you want to meet that person, learn about that company. What does that company do? Does that company support Habitat for Humanity? Volunteer for a build. 9 times out of 10, you're going to meet somebody else from that company that you want to go to work for, you want to know more about. Don't stalk, that's a bad thing, but it's okay to do research on people, right? Know what's important to them if you want to meet them, right? That's kind of my viewpoint.
I like where you're headed, and I don't think anybody thought about that when they came to this little meeting. I participated in numerous leadership opportunities, leadership training. You know, I think they can't teach me anything more. But every time I go to something, whether it's put on by the university that's running a leadership summer institute or a chamber, I was in great whatever. You changed my name.
Oh yeah, we did.
There's regional ones, there's state ones. My son, who's in water management in Colorado, got nominated to go to one. He's made by being in that. Other connections, so people have said, why don't you apply for this, or hey, I think that would be good for you, because he networked in that leadership seminar. So if you have opportunities, either at Kansas State or significant club associations, we were talking about my friend Kumar, he went on to lead the Indian Student Association. Did that get him a job? I don't know, but you know, it certainly helped him meet most of the Indian families who were here and what networks could happen from there. I have to ask him that. But anything that talks about leadership and skill development, because you're so concentrated in learning about this entomology and doing your daily things, how can you find the time to be in something Kansas State offers in the way of leadership training? And you know, the way that's what the seminar is here today, but check those kinds of things out. So that made me flip back to something I did for the past 3 months. I've been helping a group of mechanical and electrical engineers develop a national grant for NSF on wind energy. The lead was a man from Northern Arizona University. So he had the first 3 connections. He had Penn State, UMass Amherst, and Texas Tech. So I know a lot about grant writing, so I wrote a lot of grants to keep alive. So I said to him, where's your international partner? Oh, well, I suspect Europe and Australia and some of these places are way ahead of us in wind energy. So they came back on a week later and said, well, you know, there's this association in Canada and there's this in England. I said, call them, write them. So within a month before that proposal was due, they had made fabulous connections with these international associations of doing wind energy like they are, agreeing to do video conference exchanges of some of their work with the other work, they're able to put that in the proposal. That with Canada and England and somebody in Amsterdam, they were going to have graduate level professors teaching seminars via distance learning. That's going to happen whether they get the grant or not. They never even thought to put in a grant or didn't even know how to make those connections, but they did it. So then I said to them, where's the companies? Who cares about wind energy? Who can tell you what new skills people who they're going to hire need? What kind of advisory board have you built for your grant? Oh, well, I mean, so again, within a couple weeks' work, you know, somebody in the group did know somebody at, and by the end of the time before we submitted NSF, we had a full-fledged industry advisory board. We had a full-fledged international advisory committee. Okay? That's what a lot of people in grant writing or grant development don't do. I helped a woman at VetMed. She was doing some kind of 3D imaging of 20 years ago, so it's probably way passé, but I said, who else is doing that? Well, I have read the literature about, and I said, so are you unique? Has that person, are they ahead of you? Might they partner with you in what you're proposing to write about? But a lot of scientists don't think about, it's just, I gotta get funded, I gotta get the next job. Well, maybe you're gonna get funded easier if you've learned who also is excelling in your field, writing in it, presenting in it, and would they be willing to co-present with you? Then you might likely not be a poster station, you might have a pretty good spot in a conference. But that takes a lot of nerve. I mean, and that's what a lot of people aren't willing to do, is to, you know, first of all, it takes the research, then it takes the email, the picking up, however you network these days, and saying, I have been following what you're doing. I'm doing this in this field. Do you ever attend this conference? Might we do a presentation together? Or might we just start an exchange about what you do? That's a network. Little one. But again, you've made connections outside, so you can start talking to them about jobs they're hearing about. You want to talk for a while? We let you talk to me. Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
So one of the things that kind of came to mind whenever you all were talking about making it personal, you know, like with a note or something like that, is it doesn't have to be a full letter. One of the things I did whenever I was in industry was if someone gave me a business card, I would write a note on it so that I, A, knew something specific about it, B, they saw that I cared. And whenever I gave them one, I would do the same thing for them. I would write a note on it that somehow gave them an extra data point to remember me by. And I felt like once I started adapting that type of process, I mean, you know, all business cards kind of look alike, but the one that has handwriting on it stands out. So that's a good opportunity to take a really small amount of time and energy and make it.
Totally. I'll get home with a pocket of cards and then I'll go, oh my gosh. Oh, yes.
And the notes on there, I mean, whenever I was writing the note on there, they saw that, you know, I was writing it, but it helped me remember why I was interested in that. And so whenever I, you know, like sent them an email, you know, even if it was just 2 sentences, you know, a week later, I had some sort of frame of reference to remember it by.
There was another hand. Sure. You.
Oh, okay, thank you. I would make a few observations and then perhaps I'd ask 1 or 2 questions. I think listening to the introduction, all of us as we introducing ourselves, I think I noticed or realized that 90% of us here are probably international students, international people from up there. And I'm saying that because I'm thinking about the American context or market when you think about this market. I mean, US, think about Canada, for instance, and all these things. I'm saying this because my thinking is, and I may be wrong, I stand to correct it here. Establishing networks, in my view, is something that is more of a social, cultural construct That makes sense, right? And I think it's important that people learn how to, because I think first impressions do matter. That makes sense, right? So you're meeting this person for the first time. You're from that, whatever world you're coming from, and you're meeting this person for the first time. I think that's things that really matter during that very first interaction, right? And I think it's important perhaps for internationals perhaps to learn some of these things. And I remember a friend they expressed very interesting concerns, about, how do I go about doing this, language issues, cultural issues there, and all these things to me, I think, matter quite a bit. And I wanted to understand, is there something, the realities and challenges perhaps?
Hopefully most people, I personally love meeting the international person and understanding their life and what they're doing, and not sure everybody is. Feel that out as you meet people, but I think this is super asset. Part of my work here was I spent time at K-State. I had a big grant with Ecuador where we brought teachers to learn to improve their English and go back home. I created a buddies program across that whole network, and here introduced them. They were either with a graduate student or family in town. Those networks that we have built will be lifetime. Same thing with the Gujarat India program. I've been to India twice now, had dinner with their friends and families. I will keep track of, there was two of them, one was Chitin and one was Kumar, where they go, how they progress. They will do things to keep up with me. It's so important. Thinking about that poster station too, after you've reached out and pulled them in, make sure after they leave to shake their hand too and say, thanks for stopping for a minute. Be that extra link. Because even for women, maybe that's a little bit harder, maybe from the culture that you came from. That is a common. Eye contact is not always the first skill that you learn in your culture. You were perhaps look down when you're talking to the major professor. How do you not lose all of your values from your culture, and how do you have to move up that high level? I'm not very good at high levels either, but it's so important to do that.
And it is a skill. Networking is a skill, and they just practice it. So if it's uncomfortable for you to say, hi, my name is Charlotte, practice that before you go. It's okay to, work with your friends. They're having the same concerns too, right? So it's better to do that than get there and be so nervous about it. Just practice it.
They always say, I'm sorry, since I spent most of my time trying to find money for new projects, I was working. You probably heard the story of the elevator speech. Be able to say what you're doing, what your field is, where you're headed by the time the elevator reaches the 10th floor. So you might think that that's not more than 30 seconds. Can I tell you that I'm involved in the field of distance learning, networking, universities across the United States is the common educational network. Bingo on the next floor. Can you say that versus, well, I'm in entomology where we're, you get really technical and you've lost them. Can you get those hot points out there by the time you reach the 10th floor? Which means if I walk into this reception that I didn't want to go to, but these two ladies told me I had to, do I have that down? It's something that's understandable. So again, you might pick another graduate student in another field and say, so I was meeting you and I would tell you this is my introduction. Do you know what I'm talking about? Does it intrigue you enough that you want to ask me something about it? Because we know our fields can get pretty narrow. And we know it, but do they care? You had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to it. I see networking to be like for the person who you are first approaching, for the person who is going to approach the industry person or whoever, you should have this you should know how to carry yourself. And also be very enthused about the work that you're doing. When they see that maybe entomology, for instance, maybe you want to get, you want to network with someone in the industry. The person is interested in what you are working on, but the way you are giving an oral presentation and it feels like you are being forced to do what you're doing. Whoever sits behind the presentation and listening to you wouldn't feel at ease, like investing in whatever you want to talk to him about. So if you are very excited about what you're doing, let it show whilst you are presenting the work. And afterwards, if you meet the person on one-on-one, then you know how to carry yourself about. That happened to me when I was doing my master's back in Ghana. My work was sponsored by USDA, Feed the Future Innovation Lab. They have their office in Kansas State. But I had about 5 professors in different schools that was supervising my work. And when we finished with the work, we had a workshop for those stakeholders who were involved in the work. And during that workshop, I gave a presentation. And the way I made it, one man from K-State who wasn't part of my supervisors approached me and asked me if I wanted to further my education and go ahead with my PhD. So it depends on how you relate to people and how you carry yourself. Be excited about what you do. That is that.
I mean, that's another skill. You know, do you need to step back and say take speech, but if you haven't practiced that very much, how do you show that what you're doing is the most important thing to slice bread, and that what you work on in mosquitoes or what you work on as part of the economic study of is a critical next step to what? And so you engage them, you caught their attention, that you're passionate and that you want them to know about it. So they'll love you for it.
As I said before, I'm new. I've been here for 4 months in 5. And I have a conference in Chicago. It's a 3-day conference where I'm presenting a poster on the 3rd day. So I'd like to use the first 2 days to practice, building up my network. Now, I'm new to research, and these guys probably know way more than I do. I mean, how do I just approach them and say, let's engage in conversation without embarrassing myself? Basically, the only thing I know better than them are my results. How do I then get into
answer your
conversation?
question, and then we'll take it back.
So I went to my first entomology conference last semester. It was in Madison, Wisconsin, our regional branch. I literally sat down with, you can get a copy of your program in advance, go through, find the things that you're really interested in, the things that you're like, oh crap, this is really cool. Like this is along my research lines, this person's doing something very similar. This is something, I'm really interested in, but has nothing. When they're done with their talks, walk up to them, hey, I'm so-and-so, I found this really interesting, and this is what I'm working on. Because not only are other students doing things, you have faculty members, you have industry people, you have everybody across the board is giving 10-minute talks, they're doing 3-minute pieces, they've got their own posters and stuff up. You're gonna have luncheons and meetings and seminars and all sorts of things happening at your conference. Find the things that you're most interested in, and literally just at the end of it, walk up to them, hey, hi, this is what I found really interesting about your stuff. You just have to initiate that conversation. I did it multiple times in Madison, which was kind of great. Like, it's way out of my realm of things. I don't do that. And then the ones that I couldn't make it to or whatnot, I talked to my advisor. I'm like, hey, so-and-so did this. And they're like, oh yeah, you need to talk to them because I collaborate with them a lot. You just shoot them an email, like you can't actually catch them or they're surrounded by them. Like, hey, I was at your thing. This is what I liked. And just kind of go from there. I say it like it's super easy. I'm like, oh yeah, I've done this, but no, it's like completely. You're like, you're a big name professor at a university that I think I might want to go to one of these days. I'm scared of you, but
great, no, that's absolutely perfect, that's exactly, and usually there's, and you sometimes say, oh my gosh, there's 5 people around me, and I'm back here, but I'll be patient, it might be 10 minutes late for the next section, but I want to make that connection. You know, sometimes people, nowadays, people just say, well, the presentation's up on the web, but some people do have extra things to hand out. I make an attempt to go up and give my card.
Maybe the other thing you bring out is a great point is that that's not me. It may not be you right here at Manhattan at K-State, but when you're at that conference, you can be who you want to be, right? So it's okay, because your friends aren't going, yeah. Right? No, and it's you thought who you want to be. Which kind of goes back to the conference solo. You know, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen, right? I mean, we're not going to throw you out of the conference, hopefully, right? I mean, so it's okay.
I have a question. You did mention about stealing ideas just now. It's kind of interesting because I don't know what others, but some professors don't really like when you try to talk about your research to other people. So I was wondering how much a graduate student can talk about their research when they try to network, because sometimes some professors really focus on their research and they want to publish this. And then when they find out that the similar ideas was published from another group, it kind of like not really like that. So it puts the student in a very difficult situation when
I guess I would go back to your major professor or your department head and say, if I'm going to make connections, I need to know some of the boundaries around which I can talk about my passions, my interests, without giving away the state secrets. You know, you're in a field I haven't been in, but in my field, people have been so willing to stand up and say, so I'm in distance learning, so I'm always looking at the newest way to market something, and I'll go to conferences where the marketers stand there and say, well, don't do this anymore, here's the new way to do marketing. Wow, you're telling me you're giving away your secrets. I feel love to share those, but I can understand that the next head of SEPTRAN is writing on your being the first there. So how, I guess I would just ask, how can I talk about it in terms enough that would help me build connections, but won't give away underlying secrets that we're about to discover, you know, this. I think they'll have to figure out how to generalize it, they have to have the enthusiasm. If they probe too much, again, I guess you'll have to ask your major professor, and if he's too closed, you know, maybe it's in the department. How do we do this? Anything else? We have 2 hours, but I think I can sit it, so I can't stay 2 hours, but I don't want to leave by saying. And I know she had a whole PowerPoint presentation prepared, but this was much more fun to do it this way.
Yes.
Other things that you said, well, so they don't shake hands, smile, go to cocktails, they don't drink. You have to ask yourself what your field, you know, you put water in the glass, you put
seven on.
Put a lime in it, so if you look like you drink.
And you talked about a business card. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna actually bring up business cards. I was gonna say, is it best to get them officially, say, through the department and have like your K-State info on it, or is it better to get them on your own? And like, I mean, I guess it kind of depends on where you're at in your program. Like being a first semester master's student, is it better for me to go to my advisor and be like, hey, I think that this could be a really good thing for me to have, and have it be an official K-State business card for me to be able to hand out for stuff? Or should I just like?
I don't know, my staff didn't build the campus, you know, all 50 of them. Immediately, one of the first rituals they go through is getting their cards. I've always had a professional Kansas State card for, with, you know, go through exactly how it can be designed and where the logo has to be. think if you, until you made it on your own, you're out there, I would, measure, you might have to pay for it. So $20. I mean, people manufacture themselves, but that logo is what you have to get real careful that you do it. Or somebody will get a hold of it and say, official police at K-State.
Because I know like the template's available online, but I didn't know if it was
Oh, I would, because then I know that it's Mike Smith with, you know, the history department or the history graduate students. Another connector for me than just Mike Smith, history major.
You went to a professional, so as long as you're a department, and I can't speak to that, but yours are another professional because that's a reflection back on you and your work, right? So you have plenty of them, but you know, it's, the other things that you don't want to do, in my opinion, and business is a little different than, you know, academia, so I don't want to blur the lines horribly, but if you just say, hi, I'm Charlotte, here's my card, they're not gonna keep that long. But there has to be kind of a little bit of a conversation, you know, an opportunity to share a card, in my opinion. So, right, I mean, would you, yeah.
Anything else? I mean, I don't think it gives you the magical answers. Hold the smile, open the eye, get out, shake the hand, do the homework before you get there, so you know what sections you want to go to, who you might want to meet, maybe professor. Hopefully will be your mentor. I mean, I've had some major professors who probably would have been a good mentor, but you know, if that person isn't a good mentor, there's someone else in the department that's going that would be willing to introduce you. Who could be that person for you? Finding that person. So if they do know people, they can, yes, you feel much better than if they've introduced you to people. So by the second day, you'll see that same person.
And even the person right next to you is another network, right? So I mean, if you're at a session and we have a conversation, then when I see her, there's, oh, we met, so now she can introduce me to her major professor, and it all kind of works itself together. But, and one thing about ladies now is one of the nice things is the crossbody. So you could put, I mean, that's like this thing that used to be like, you guys wearing like a huge bag was a big deal, but a little crossbody would be here with this part in. For receptionist, because you do want your hands free, so you can shake and hold a plate or a beverage. That might be an option that we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, we all carry, and I carry a smaller one at a conference, which is big enough for my cell phone business cards. I can hold the drink and the, almost. Well, thank you for coming. I think the folks who put this together know how to reach us, the chamber. I mean, I think she's going beyond you. When you get to that next community, you do get a job. How do you network beyond just within your own industry? How do you get to know, is it your church community? Is it because you're a biker, you want to do bicycling? Is it because you're interested in good wine and you want to find that community too, because that makes the work happiness. Chambers are always a great thing. I'm a Rotarian. Rotary is great internationally. I just spent time in South Africa for my Rotary exchange and very value those connections. So I seek out, can't be in everything, but I try to pick something that's really meaningful to me. So thank you for coming. Good luck. You all have the best jobs ever. Maybe there's some networks here already, but certainly a lot of you are in some of the same fields. I appreciate you coming.